The very imagery says that if he stands on the sea and on the land, he has the whole world under his feet. He has authority over the whole world. True? What did Jesus say in Matthew 28? All power is given unto me in heaven and on earth. Go therefore. And so Jesus comes as the messenger of the covenant that has all authority. He is all powerful. And notice when he speaks, verse 3, and he cried with a loud voice, as when a lion roars. Who does the lion represent? Well, let's go to the Old Testament. Come to the book of Isaiah, chapter 31 and verse 4. Isaiah chapter 31 and verse 4. For thus the Lord has spoken to me. And notice now, as a lion roars, and a young lion over his prey, when a multitude of shepherds is summoned against him, he will not be afraid of their voice, nor be disturbed by their noise. So the Lord of hosts will come down to fight for Mount Zion and for its hill. Who does the lion represent in the Old Testament? It represents the Lord of hosts, Jehovah. Another verse. Jeremiah 25:30. Why is he represented as a lion in that verse? Because he will defend. He has come down to fight for his people. Jeremiah 25 and verse 30. It says, therefore prophesy against them all these words and say to them, the Lord will roar from on high and utter his voice from his holy habitation. He will roar mightily against his fold. He will give a shout as those who tread the grapes. What does the Lord do when he speaks? He roars. And isn't it interesting that the messenger of the covenant in Revelation 10, when he speaks, what is he doing? He is roaring. Why? Because he's Jehovah. He is the Lord himself who has come down. Why has he come down? Number of purpose. To lead his children Israel into Canaan, but also to protect his children. Isn't that beautiful? And then if we come to, there's a number of verses we could use. Revelation chapter 5 verse 6 identifies the lion. Revelation chapter 5 and verse 6 says, and I looked, and behold, in the midst of the throne and of the four living creatures, and in the midst of the elders stood as a lamb, as though it had been slain, having 7 horns and 7 eyes, which are the 7 spirits of God. Sorry, that's not the verse. Verse 5. But one of the elders said to me, do not weep. Behold, the Lion of the tribe of Judah, the Root of David, has prevailed to open the scroll and to loose its 7 seals. Who is the lion in the New Testament? In the Old Testament, who is the lion? Jehovah, the Lord. Who is the lion in the New Testament? It's Jesus Christ. He is the messenger of the covenant. Amen? Go back to Revelation chapter 10. And we'll look now this and he cried with a loud voice, as when a lion roars. When he cried out, 7 thunders uttered their voices. Interesting that the voice of Jesus is compared to the voice of a lion, or to the roaring of a lion, and is also compared to the thundering of thunder. I just wondered, I wonder what the Old Testament says about thunder. Let's go and see. Exodus 19, 16 and 18. Exodus 19, 16 and 18. Then it came to pass on the third day in the morning that there were thunderings and lightnings and a thick cloud on the mountain, and the sound of the trumpet was very loud, so that all the people who were in the camp trembled. Isn't that interesting that in Mount Sinai, there is the sound of thunder and the sound of trumpets? Isn't that interesting that the vision of the appearance of Jesus is in the midst of the sounding of 7 trumpets? And when he speaks, what sounds? Thunders. So he has come down with the power that he came down on Mount Sinai. Isn't that interesting? What else does the Bible tell us about thunder? 2 Samuel 22:14. Thunders are a symbol of the presence of God. Thunders is a symbol of the voice of God. 2 Samuel 22:14. The Lord thundered from heaven, and the Most High uttered his voice. Isn't that interesting here, friends, that the voice of the Most High is compared to thunder? And in Revelation 10, Jesus' voice is compared to thunder. Who's Jesus? Interesting, isn't it? The Most High. Come to Psalm chapter 18 and verse 13. One more. Remember when Jesus was baptized and God spoke, what did the people think had happened? They thought it was thunder. Psalm chapter 18 and verse 13. The Lord thundered from heaven, and the Most High uttered his voice, hailstones and coals of fire. Again. So here we have a vision in Revelation chapter 10 of an angel who comes down covered in clouds and surrounded his head with a rainbow. His face is shining like the sun. His feet are like pillars of fire. When he has a book on his hands, when he speaks, he roars like a lion, and his voice is heard like a thunder. It's interesting that John was commanded not to write what he heard. So John actually understood what the thunder said, but he was commanded to seal it. Now, this is Jesus. And I'm going to show you now a number of times when Jesus is seen in the same way or in very similar way that John saw him. Come with me to the book of Daniel, chapter 10, verses 5 and 6. Daniel chapter 10, verses 5 and 6. I lifted my eyes and looked, and behold, a certain man clothed in linen, whose waist was girded with gold of Uphaz. His body was like beryl, his face like the appearance of lightning, his eyes like torches of fire, his arms and feet like burnished bronze in color, and the sound of his words like the voice of a multitude. Different words, but the description is very similar. The description of one who looks like a man. And if you come to the book of Daniel chapter 12, you find that this being is actually accompanied by 2 other beings. This is very interesting, because I'm going to show you in Revelation 10 and 11 that actually the vision of the angel comes with the vision of 2 other men. Come with me now to the book of Matthew. Matthew chapter 17, verses 2 and 3. Matthew chapter 17, verses 2 and 3. And he was transfigured before them. His face shone like the sun, and his clothes became as white as the light. And behold, Moses and Elijah appeared to them, talking with him. Very interesting. Again, when Jesus is seen transfigured, how many people are accompanying him? 2. And who are they? Moses and Elijah. And what is his face like? Like the sun. And his clothes? Very